Still, step into the space where the roots run deep, where the sun meets the soil and the stories speak. Every leaf, every bloom got a tale to tell, from the lows in the dirt to the highs that swell. This is Grow House, yeah, we flourish and thrive, planting seeds of change, keeping dreams alive. It's more than just green, it's the life we create, breaking through the cracks, let's elevate. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Welcome to Grow House, we grow, we grow. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Welcome to Grow House. We grow, we grow.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Grow House. Today's going to be a really exciting episode, but what we do here is we share the love of houseplants and the ins and outs of the industry. And today we are going to have a new plant of the week, and it is Hoya. So we're going to have an awesome giveaway with this beautiful Hoya if you stay to the end. So definitely stay to the end so we can talk about this giveaway more. I'm super excited. Hoyas are absolutely amazing. People tend to love them because they're extremely hardy. They're easy to root, so you can propagate them. I could cut this off right here, stick it in some moss, and there we go. They're pet and reptile friendly, so you can keep these in your enclosures, keep them around your house if you have like nosy cats and nosy dogs. They are safe. And then if you have any builds that you guys are working on, definitely stick around so you guys can put this into one of your builds or even a bioactive. It's going to be super exciting. These also bloom. That is one thing that people really, really love these for, is they create the most beautiful blooms. They have actual flowers and they normally smell really good. Some don't, but you know, some smell like chocolate, some smell like honey, some smell like vanilla, almonds, like all sorts of different scents. And then they also sun stress. So if you see here, you can see it looks a little brownish on camera, but this is almost a pink purple. I guess what leaf is it? This one. This one you can see a little bit better, but they are also very hardy leaves. So I keep a lot of orchids and Hoyas in my chameleon's enclosure because he's not going to completely ruin and trample these leaves. So they're very hardy. So if you have any crazy pets at home, they should hold up. And then this one is in stratum, and he's very well rooted. You can move it out of that at any time. You can clip these and grow some more. But yes, this is our plant of the week, and I'm super excited to be sharing a reptile one and pet friendly one with you guys. So stick around until the end so we can get this to someone next week. I normally ship out Mondays and Tuesdays, so stick around so we can enter that giveaway. But today we have a very special guest, someone I'm very excited about. I've met him briefly here and there at some planty events, but he also was once a ball python breeder himself. So some of you viewing may know of him, may have heard of him. But now he is widely known for being a planty rapper. So he makes some of the most amazing plant songs. Like it's really just awesome. And the first time I met him, he was performing at PlantCon, I believe Houston, and it was really, really awesome to see like the pull that he had and the excitement that all of our vendors and buyers, guests like had while at the event, and it just was really awesome. He's also very kind. He was more than happy to jump on this podcast with me, which is absolutely amazing. So in and out, he's just really amazing, and I'm excited for you and for myself to learn more about him today. And then, of course, a huge shout out to Mike from Herp Collectors Network, our producer. He helps me out a lot, and he's also given me the great opportunity to provide this show for you guys. So yes, always big shout out to Mike. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Rocco.
Hey.
Hey, Rocco, how are you tonight?
How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing all right. Got the fresh brown hair going on.
Yes.
This is probably the first time anyone. They're gonna
Yeah,
be like,
he's
"That's not him."
anymore. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That was the first thing that I had said to him when we popped up backstage is, "Where's your blonde hair?"
Yeah. Everybody's like, "This is a fraud. It's not him."
It's a fraud. Yes. No, this is not Rocco, and actually this is someone in my closet back there
Yeah.
that we
Let me out.
holding hostage. Can you hear it? No.
How do I get out of here?
You gotta be quiet, Rocco. We can't let people know.
That's funny.
Yeah, thank you again for being here, and I'm so super excited to learn more about you, where you came from, where you are now, how'd you get there, and everything in between. My first question for you is like, what is your role and what do you provide for the planty industry?
So what do I provide? Not much. No, I honestly, I just make some plant songs, like you were saying earlier in the intro. Kind of just started as like a random thing in my head. One time I was in the backyard. Honestly, I didn't even know there was like a whole plant community. I wasn't really part of it. Like I was just vibing by myself in the backyard, and I was like, just me and my plants, you know? And like, I was like, oh, I probably should record this because it was stuck in my head. So I went ahead and recorded it and put it on TikTok, and it got some traction. Some different people used it. Martha Stewart used it on her page and stuff.
No
And
way. Did she really?
yeah, Cam, you know Market Botany?
Yeah.
So he had actually DM'd me on TikTok, and he was like, because we actually live in like probably a mile away from each other in Sarasota. And
Oh, cool.
so yeah, I had met him at like a random little plant yard sale that he had. And he had DM'd me on TikTok and was like, "Yo, did you know Martha Stewart used your song?" And I was like, "What?" I thought he was messing with me. So like I looked up her page and I went to it, and I was like, sure as crap, like she was just sitting there vibing to it or whatever. And I'm sure it was probably like whoever does her marketing, but either way it was
No,
neat, you know?
she peeped you and she was like, yeah, like she knew what she was doing. She knew what she was doing.
Shout out Martha.
I think she has a thing. What is the other rapper? I actually grew up with him.
Young Gravy.
Yes, Young Gravy.
Martha
I love
Stewart.
him. He is fantastic. I was, lucky enough to be able to know him before fame. But no, I think she knew what she was doing. She wants you to DM her. Slide in those DMs.
She hasn't responded.
Oh, you did? Oh, poor Rocco.
It's all right. She's busy.
I kind of want to know, like, so you have background in Christian rap, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, kind of. I started off not.
Tell me more. Were you making music like prior to your plant music, or how did that go? How'd you get into it?
So, I've had ADHD my whole life, and so a lot of ADHD slash spectrum people are like very artistic in some sort of way, very hobby oriented and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
I've always like written music. I used to play guitar a lot, but when I was younger, I wrote everything from like worship music, country music, just like anything. So, as I got older, it's funny actually, as a kid, I was not into rap at all. But as I got older, I started appreciating like the lyricism and the storytelling and stuff like that behind it. And it was kind of like a challenge and a puzzle.
Yeah.
So I started like writing more rap, and I actually used to just write like mostly just secular rap and plant rap. But I've been a Christian my whole life, and like I had a point where like I don't know, it felt like God was like, "Hey, like what are you doing with these songs? Like I've given you this ability, like use it to glorify me and have fun at the same time, you know?" So I kind of just like switched the direction I was going. So there's probably a lot of people who have heard my music and they're like, "Oh, this isn't the same thing he used to write or whatever," which is totally fine, but that's just like part of the journey, you know?
No, absolutely. I love and I respect that. I've definitely tuned into your music a lot since finding you.
I
And
appreciate you.
I've showed my family even, because a lot of my family is very musical. Like they not so much rapping, but they do a lot of singing and like, the keyboard instruments and stuff like that. And they're like, oh my God, this is really cool. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, it's major in like the industry that I work with. And like it, like I said on our intro, like being able to see the pool that you had at our first plant con. I'm not sure if it was the first plant con, but I believe it was a Houston one, the first time you had performed there. And it was just like, gave me shivers. It was so amazing to see like how happy people were, and like it was really awesome to have like a song that we could like truly relate to within our own hobby. Like, and it flowed so beautifully. It was just amazing. I absolutely
Appreciate
loved
that.
it. Yeah. So are you keeping up with any of the industry trends as far as plants and stuff like that?
Yes, not necessarily like intentionally, but just, being on IG and TikTok and all that stuff, I tend to see a lot of like the expensive plants people post. I'm mostly into like monsteras, philodendron,
Yeah.
anthurium, stuff like that. So I see a
Yeah.
lot more of that, but I don't know. I don't necessarily try to keep up with the trends, but I think it's just one of them things we all kind of can't help but notice them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the anthurium and monstera specifically that are, out there right now are stunning. I personally stayed away from anthurium for almost 2 years because I was so like intimidated by them,
Right.
because they're like they're the bougie plant. Like they're the one that's expensive, and like they even just look intimidating because they're like, why are you so beautiful?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, and
why?
it's like if you look at it wrong, like the leaves start browning, you're like, "Oh man, my humidity's not right." Like,
I have
yeah,
one
like
right up there doing that right now. Yeah.
yeah, they're definitely like once you become doc block status, then you can own anthuriums. But like right now, I'm just like gonna keep my little monsteras and philodendron.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, do you have anyone that you like look up to in the plant industry? Do you like have someone that you follow or you check in on to like, learn any more, or do you have anyone that you look up into in the music industry?
So, honestly, like there's quite a few people. I'm not really like when I get on Instagram and stuff like that, like some of the people that I follow have like 30 followers and stuff, but they're just vibing with their plants and like I don't know, it's cool. So I feel like um just to like name some random names, Eddie from Trinity Tropicals, he's
Okay.
really cool.
Yep.
He's a couple hours away from me. I've actually went and we've done like some plant swaps and stuff like that. He's a really good guy. The bearded plantaholic, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you know him. He's really funny. A lot of his
Yeah.
stuff. I've talked to him about potentially doing some kind of like music collab or whatever, but
I
I'm
love
pretty sure
that.
isn't he across the pond?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly how we'd get that to work out, but there's like a whole bunch of people. Aroid Greenhouses,
Mm-hmm.
Perfect Choice Nursery. They're
We
really
love
cool.
that.
I've shot I think two music videos there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so for propagating and for nursery rhymes, I think both of those were shot there.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome. That is perfect choice is to die for.
yeah,
They are
they're nice.
like everything that they've done, like their inside greenhouse too, like that is so stunning. They put
Super
so
top
much
tier.
time and so much work into that. Like that's awesome. I'm happy you've been able to shoot there because that is the best place.
Yeah, they're super dope, and just as people in general, they're like really kind. Like every
Yeah.
time I see them and talk to them, they're super, just encouraging and nice. They're always smiling. Also, Shane with Gabriella Plants,
Mm-hmm.
really really cool dude. A lot of people don't even know, but like the whole pink princess trend that we had for a while, that like pretty much started with Gabriella Plants. Like I don't know if
Did
you know
it?
that whole story.
Yeah, no, I don't actually. I That's actually when I started getting into plants, is when the pink princess this big was worth like $150. And and now we can buy huge ones at Costco for like $25, you know. Like we
Insane.
were talking before, like the market, like for snakes, for, you know, reptiles, for plants, like it goes up and down, but you'll still always find, like, I still sell pink princesses myself because I will still find a buyer that really wants them. And do I
Right.
need $150 for it? No. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, like give me 20 to $40 on a nice big plant and we're good to go. Like that's, you know, that was one of my first favorite plants. So like I chop them up and grow them quite often, and I want to be able to provide them at a really good price, because people love them. Who doesn't love a pink plant? Like, who knew a plant could be pink?
Right. I know. Like, the first time I saw one, I was like, "Oh, that's fake," and I kind of just didn't even pay any attention to it. And then I was like, "Wait a second!" And I like felt it. I was like, "This is real! Like,
This
what
is
the heck?"
actually
You know?
real.
I
Yeah.
was like, "This pink. How is this even serving a purpose to the plant?" You know? But yeah,
Doesn't.
it's wild. So they like he told me that they kind of came across a like the original. I don't want to say the original because obviously there's always been one somewhere, but before it was like popularized, they kind of came. I don't want to mess up the story, so everybody go check with Gabriella Plants and Shane to get it right. But they like came across this pink princess plant at like a nursery, and they bought it and they had started propagating it because they were like, we're not really sure exactly what this philodendron is, and
Yep.
all of a sudden, like they realized that people were taking pieces that they had like purchased and were flipping them on Etsy and stuff like that for like you said, like 150, $250 a
Or
piece.
like two leaves. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and they were selling them for like mad cheap, like 10, $15, you know, and they were like, wait a second, like there's a whole market. So that's
We
kind of
have
what got them
something.
started doing like the whole online shipping and stuff like that, which is really dope, I think. But
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really beautiful. I've uh with my time in the industry, I've been able to watch a lot of people find new cultivars and like the huge process that they go through that. Gosh, I'm spacing on his name right now. Matt's Exotics. He came out
oh
with
yeah.
the first variegated gloriosum, and I remember when he found that, he found it at like the end of a street, like this tiny little like plant sale in the middle of Florida somewhere. I can't remember exactly the area where all the nurseries are, but he's like, oh, this looks different. Oh, the snow leopard, that's what it is, the snow leopard.
Hmm.
He's like, this looks different. And so he's like calling all these people. Hi, Joseph. Sorry, I was reading a comment. Yes, I
Oh no,
will
you're
guide
good.
you. I will guide you with all of your needs. And he's calling all these people like, look at this, like, what is this, like, what should I do, like, what are my next steps? And he's like, he really felt like he had something big, and he did. Like, he was chopping it up. He found like that it was stable variegation. And then I remember the first time that he sold one was on it was Plant Story at the time, but Palmstreet.
Hmm.
And it went for like $3,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, like just this one little cutting and like these tiny small plants. And I'm like, that is just insane. And fast forward a year and a half later, they're all being TC'd, which is
Yeah.
insane. And you know, they can go for like 40 to $50 in a jar. But like there's been so many experiences that I get to watch people find this, or like I'm really close with a lot of farms in Thailand, and then they find things, and like I get to watch their process of like keeping it a huge secret, like don't tell anyone, like
Yeah.
we're doing all of this, like you know, like this can only go to X, Y, and Z, like don't tell anyone. And like then you get to watch it explode in the US and like in China and you know all these other places, and it's really 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 awesome. So yeah,
Yeah,
thank you for sharing that story,
for
especially
sure.
about the pink princess. I mean, almost everyone knows about the pink princess, and if you don't, go look it up. You need one.
You do definitely need one.
Yes, everyone needs a pink plant in their life.
Back.
um do you have like any idea on like what the next upcoming plant could be? If you could pick one, what would you pick?
Any plant?
Yeah, any plant.
Hmm. It's kind of hard to say, honestly. I was so I'm really big into like Anthurium veitchii. Like, I just think they're so dope, especially when they're big. All of
Mhm.
mine don't think I'm as cool as I think that they are, so they're pretty much stay like this big and they don't really do what I want them to. But I found a variegated one on Marketplace, and it had like almost a half moon leaf, and the person was selling it for like $160. And I was like, is this real? So I messaged them instantly. And by the time they replied, they were like, oh, sorry, like I just sold it, blah, blah, blah. So like I pretty much cried because I was like, to find a, and it was like a good sized plant, you know? I don't know what's gonna be like the next plant. Obviously the like the what is it, the devil monster or whatever, those are going for
The
crazy money.
Monstera Devil, yes.
Honestly, to me, you know, if anybody's invested, don't let me talk crap on you, but I don't know. I like some of like the regular like jungle mint and no IDs and stuff like that better than I like this new cultivar.
Yes, this right here
That
is
one's
the
beautiful.
mint, and I absolutely love it. Now, I've seen a lot of devils in person. I went to Thailand for their Bangkok show, and there was probably 8 of them there. So after I saw so many of them, it was like less overwhelming, or like it was a little underwhelming, if you will.
Right.
Because I saw so many, and then everyone in the US is like still flipping their shit about the one that we have here. And I'm like,
Yeah,
guys, there's so many now. Like the market's gonna go down really quick.
exactly. That's yeah.
Yes, that's essentially what happens. But there's still only like 2 to maybe 5 people in the US that do have them.
Right.
And they are very slow growers, so we at least have that to help retain like the value of them. But I think the last time I went and saw Mike, gosh, I'm spacing his last name, but he has a very large nursery. Gosh, I can't remember his last name. Anyway, he had one. He was the only one that had one, and I think it was like 300,000 for like the 4-leaf plant. Yeah.
So basically just like a casual nice house.
Yeah.
That's wild,
Yes, that is
bro.
it. That is like a HOA, like nice Texas home right there.
Yeah, that's insane business.
Yes.
300K for a
Yeah.
four-leaf plant?
Yeah, people were like, "Oh my god, you touched it? Like you saw it?" And I was like, "Yes,
That's
yes, I touched
wild.
it. I held it. I saw it. Like it's really cool." But I'm almost there with you as far as like the mints, the no IDs. Like I really love them. The Monstera Devil, it is cool, but
I
even
think
the
it's gonna be the
price,
banana ball python of the plants.
yes.
Just my opinion.
It may be. We'll see. We'll see within time. My only worry with them is with like the such high variegation that they do have, like the browning aspect. Like
Right.
if we do one thing wrong, like if you were to like try to spray it for pests or spray it for a fungal or have the humidity wrong, let it outside for a little bit too long, like that shit's gone. Like it's
Yeah.
done.
It can be like,
Yeah, there's no saving that. And like you trying to cut it, like, yeah, you can try to cut it and stop the browning, but with how much variegation it is, it's like trying to cut a brown spot out of a full moon leaf. Like it's just you can't really do anything about it. But
yeah.
very interesting. I love that take. Love that take. Have you seen one in person?
I don't believe I've seen one in person. I've just seen a lot of pictures, especially when people do like the overseas shows and stuff like
Mhm.
that. You see a lot of them
Yep.
over there, and I know a lot of the people over there who export to the United States have quite a few of them. Like I'll just pay attention to the backs of people's like pictures, and they'll be like, "Oh, look at this plant," and I'll see like 50 of them in the background, and I'm like,
Yes.
"Okay, so obviously they're not like super rare everywhere." I
Yep.
just have a
That's
feeling like people are dumping money over here because no one has them. But once they become like, I don't know, it scares me. Anytime something is that expensive, you know the market's gonna usually drop pretty quick.
it
Like,
does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's why, like I was saying, I was a little like underwhelmed when I went to the Bangkok show because I knew I was going to see some, but I didn't think I was going to see as many as I did. It was like everywhere I looked, someone had at least like a 1 or 2 leaf. So I know that that's all off of one mother plant, but that
Right.
just means like someone, you know, like that many people are getting their hands on it. They're going to grow it. And that's likely what the one that they have on for sale is probably not their only one.
Right.
So I know that like I was still expecting like it to be something really rare to even see in Thailand, but it wasn't. Wasn't at
Yeah.
all. The same with the variegated anthuriums. When I went to Thailand, there was only like 2 or 3 people in the US that actually had like a full grown variegated anthurium, and not like a variegated vidifolium, like the strappy ones, but
Right.
like these ones back here, like big, wide leaf, crystalloidium, variegated, and pink variegated, yellow variegated, white variegated, blister variegated. They had them so many, and they were gorgeous,
But
but
they're everywhere.
they were everywhere, and they were still like $1,200 US.
Right.
And so, which is like, I don't know, like 3,600 baht. So more expensive for them, way cheap for me. And if I were to try to buy them like in the US, it would have been like 10 grand.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, so Aroid Greenhouses just posted on their story. They've got a whole bunch of variegated anthurium that they're, I guess, I don't know if they're selling them now, or if they were just showing like stock. I believe that they're probably selling them, but they're Golden Sunrise,
Oh, yep. Those are the
something.
ones. Yes.
But yeah,
Those are
they
the
have like
ones.
quite a few of them. So I got a feeling that the variegated anthuriums are going to start popping off. But
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird because the anthurium world is kind of like its own world. Like people who
Yeah.
do anthuriums, they're like you say, they're like the bougie people who are like, oh, like these are the nice plants, whatever.
Yes.
So I feel like those
Yes.
are going to hold their value just because there's so much to be done with them.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like ball pythons. Like I thought for sure that ball pythons were going to be like pretty much done for in like 2017, 2018, just because everybody had them and everyone was making all these combinations. And every time I log on Instagram, even now, there's still new stuff where I'm like
Yep.
mind blown.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the anthuriums will hold their value. And I think that plants that are in that like $200 to $800 range are going to keep their value a lot more than plants that are in that $50,000 to $60,000 range. I think
Yeah.
those are going to be the ones that end up tanking down to like the Thai constellations. I just saw those in Lowe's for like $60 for like big, nice, healthy, mature plants.
Yes.
It's insane.
I was slinging those for like $300, $400 a pop, like 3 weeks.
Fact.
Like easy all day, every day, like people on payment plans, like
Right.
so many. And it was such an easy sale, and then gone. Like now it before my eyes, they were selling for $40, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, to talk about, value dropping, I don't know if you've heard of the variegated begonia maculata. So
I've seen it
yes.
with like the pink.
Yes, the one with the pink and the polka dots, they're gorgeous plants. Love them. Earlier last year, I guess like in the middle of last year, 2024, I sold one for almost $9,000, $8,500. And within 4
What?
months, that went down to 2.5K. And I was
Wow.
like, yes, yes. And it's like, and it was like such a long journey. Like, my people in Thailand, they only had one. And like, it was also when like the wars started happening in Israel and stuff. And so when I got it sent to me, it had to go like to like 4 different countries, through Canada to New York, one more stop in the States, and then to Florida. And I was
Damn.
like, oh my God. And this poor lady that was the buyer, I was like, oh my God, like, please bear with me.
That's so
Like,
scary.
please bear with me. Like, this is the most insane like sale I had ever made, and the most stressful sale I had ever made. So I
Did you
promised
have
myself.
insurance?
She had insurance.
Okay.
I have verbal insurance. Like her insurance was paying goods and services through PayPal. So if anything would have happened, I would have been screwed. But like I had to pay $6,000 deposit just to get the plants sent over to us, and then yes, and then the rest was split between me and the other Thailand seller. And so like, yeah, I made $1,000 off of it, but like that was the worst experience I ever had. Like that's such a high value item. And then to find out just a few months later, they're a quarter of the price. Dagger to my heart. I was like, oh my gosh.
Imagine the lady that bought it.
Well, the good thing is that they are so easy to propagate. She's already made her money back.
Oh yeah,
like,
fact.
She's already made her money back, and they're still like they didn't go much lower, so people are still paying $900 to $1,000 for a single unrooted leaf. So
Dang.
it's like retained, like as far as splitting it up and like offering it in like a smaller way, but like selling those big plants, it's just not there anymore. But
Yeah.
you could, so now what you have to do is you have to purchase the bigger plant, propagate it, and then sell off smaller pieces. And I think that will still retain, as far as like these propagations and these like one leaf cuttings, that will retain, because $1,000 is still hard to pull out and provide for a one leaf plant. So that is what retains the value right there. And like not a lot of people can do that. So I still see them like being posted on Plant Purge USA and stuff like that, and $950 to $1,000, maybe even $1,200 for like a 2-leaf. And then they have to grow that out. Hopefully don't kill it, because begonias are still sensitive. Luckily, those are like the more chillaxed ones, but with the amount of irrigation, there's browning that's going to happen. But yeah, that's like the only way now, is like you have to cut it up and you have to be willing to sell it. But that's a risk in itself too. Like I told like the Pearl, she's my supplier, she's like, do you want me to send you like 5 of these and then you can cut them up? I was like, fuck no. Like I am not going to take that chance, because like I'm a grower, but I don't want to risk like that high amount of money from if I possibly fail. Because if I kill one leaf, that's $1,000 gone.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
This is too much for me. I don't want that pressure. Like I like my aeroids that I don't have to water for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we're good. Like I do not want to deal with
crazy.
that.
$1,000 a leaf. Sheesh.
I know, isn't that insane? Like it's I don't think I would ever pay that much. The most I've ever paid for a plant is for myself. I've spent $6,000 on just that one begonia. But for myself, it was a pink variegated alocasia, pink
Black velvet.
Yep. And that one I paid $950 for. It was gorgeous. Had 3 big, beautiful leaves, high variegation, perfect bright pink color, and then it had a bunch of corms. So with those corms, I immediately made my money back, and then I just let it grow, sold maybe 5 more corms, profited off that. I was selling them for like $200 a corm. And then I ultimately sold the plant for $1,200. Because it had grown like 4 or 5 more leaves. Some had passed over to the other side, chop. But it was a good investment for me. I made my money back. I made more, and then I also made a couple $100 more off the original price that I had purchased it at. And those are still doing decent as far as their value. They're still probably around $300 for like a decent sized plant, and then their corms you could sell for like $95 still. So they're retaining it. I'm happy with that.
I just bought one before I went to PlantCon in Orlando. I picked up, so I had paid I don't know if you know Snow. I think her Instagram's like Snow's Plants and Pals or something like that. I don't know.
Plants and Pals.
She's chill, but so I bought a corm from her. It was like $80, and I was like, I've always wanted a PBV, so I was like, I'm definitely gonna cop this. So I sent her the money because I had bought a silver sword from her like a while back, and she was real chill and trustworthy. So I sent her the money for it, and she was like, if you want, I can just bring it to you at PlantCon. And I was like, all right, cool. So after the show at PlantCon, she came up and was like, oh, here's your corn, by the way, or whatever. So I took it, and I had to drive to California for like this news interview. So I literally had this thing in my car with me all the way to California and all the way back. And there was nights that it got down to like 38, right?
Oh.
Like, yeah. And I was sleeping in the car because I had like a big blow up mattress that it was in the back. And it was like the corm definitely got down. I would say at least probably 45 or less, because I had put like some shirts around it and stuff. But in the morning when I would check on it, it was cold. And that thing is still kicking. I have it like in
thank
some
goodness. I was waiting for it to like you to say like I died. I'm like,
tank. I was low-key expecting that. It was just in a little cup with some moss, and I was like, I honestly I had already made peace with the fact that this thing was probably gonna die.
yeah.
But when I got back home, it's been on a whole journey. I had it like in some water trying to get roots, and then right now I have it like in a little jar with a bunch of rocks, and I have a fish tank air stone to like bubble and help it get roots. So I'm just waiting to see what it does, but we'll see. Her plant was really nice. So
did you peel the
all the little
little pieces
trash, the little whatever it's called.
I can't the heath or I don't know what it is.
Yeah, the little. It looks like just little like brown paper.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I took all that off.
Yeah, I would keep it in a bubbler. That actually might work like really well. I've never tried, but I do use a bubbler for like all my cuttings and stuff like that, especially my monsteras. But if you don't see growth within like the next month, try popping it back into moss and then put it in a bag.
Yeah, like a greenhouse.
Yeah. That could definitely help. But sometimes they are stubborn. I've been there. I love growing out my corms, but they are sometimes very stubborn.
When they want to get roots, they grow them super fast. But if the conditions aren't what they want,
boom, done, sprout, here you go.
Yeah, they're like, I'm ready. But if it's like if they're stressed out, you could sit there for a month and a half, and that thing just looks like a regular little piece of nothing, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
But
like
they're cool though. Yeah.
How was Orlando PlantCon, by the way? It was very sad I couldn't attend.
Yeah, it was dope. But honestly, so I brought my guy who does like a lot of my, well, pretty much all my mixes for my songs. Like the guy that I record with, he lives in Orlando. And so I actually had him come out and do like the sound and stuff. His name's Jay. I don't know. You might have seen him in some of the videos or whatever. People posted him. He's sitting up at the table with me. But we had to go get a cord because we were missing like an aux cord to be able to plug stuff in. And so we had to run up to Guitar Center real quick. And by the time we got back, we had like 10-15 minutes before I was supposed to go on. And then I had to leave right after the set to go to California. So I was probably at PlantCon for a total of like 45 minutes to an hour.
Man.
Yeah, I didn't even get to go walk around and look at the booths or anything, but it was cool. Like up on the stage, I could kind of see the setup and everything. There was a lot of really nice plants, but yeah, I don't know. I wish I had more time to walk around, but I think Houston, I think that Dallas, and then now they're going to do New York.
New York, yeah, I'm pretty excited. That's
pretty crazy.
That. Yeah.
No telling what that's going to be like.
Yes, I'm very interested because, you know, they've definitely stayed like south, you know,
right.
Houston, Dallas, Florida. But I think it'll be really good for them to reach that part of the states. You know, just statistically, there are so many plant people in New York because they don't have green. They don't have a lot of like trees. They don't have a lot of nature. They do have a big, beautiful park, but that's it. But,
here's the park.
When I paid a visit to New York, I was kind of astounded by, seeing all of the apartment buildings with all of these plants in their windows, and like, looking at like my past orders, and like, a lot of the orders on Palmstreet, like there's so many plant people in New York, in that area. And luckily there's so many small states that people from so many different states there can travel with just a couple hours to go there. So I think it'll be a really good turnout. Especially
Definitely.
they'll be on the pier. So I think that people will also want to, go there to see that. And like, it's another chance to visit New York City. Like, come on.
Exactly. Yeah. And like you said, so that was the main thing. I think like Orlando is right in the heart of Florida, and that's pretty much surrounded by like nurseries that have, I don't want to say wholesale pricing, but like really good prices, like mature plants, like kind of rare stuff. But I feel like New York, it's a lot harder because they don't have those steady warm temperatures to like grow stuff out. So unless it's hobbyists or collectors, it's probably really hard for people upstate, or in the northern part of the United States to find the kinds of plants that we take for granted in Florida. Like you said, I get on Marketplace and I see the variegated gloriosums and stuff like that now, and it's like people up there probably don't have nearly the selection that we do down in Florida.
Yeah, not at all. And it's very expensive for any nurseries to keep running there, because they have to invest in, shit like heat for one, like that's the most major thing. But like all of the extra expenses, in Florida, you guys it's a lot easier. Like my grower there has just, wires, like a wire barn, and then like a couple shade cloths over it. And, like that's it. We could never do that. Not even in summer could we do that. Like in the more colder states, like you just couldn't.
Right. Yeah, because you don't know. I mean, even if you put your plants out there, it might say that you're good for 3-4 days, but then you have a cold snap and it's like you have to bring everything right back in. And like I just did that. So like on the side of my yard or whatever, I put like some burlap, and it acts as like a little shade cloth, and like the plants love it. Like I have a melanoprisum, and it's starting to climb a pole, and I put it under this light, and it's like so stoked that it has some like good filtered light,
Yeah, that's awesome. But I love the Milanos. Do you have a variegated one by chance?
I don't, but the orange one.
The orange ones too. Chef's kiss. They're
gorgeous. They're so dope.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of those in Thailand as well, and they still wanted like $500 US. So I opted out, but they are so freaking stunning. I might like grab a cutting from like Ronnie. And I'm not sure if you know him, but he's super awesome seller, bougie, super bougie. Got super the best plants. Might grab a cutting from him or something for 200 and grow it out, because they root nicely. They're decently fast growers.
Worth it.
But yeah, they're super cool.
When you imagine those leaves that are like 3 feet long, imagine that with the orange variegation.
Yes. So not a variegated one, but I did pick up from the last plant con that I went to, like a 3-foot leaf. It had like 4 or 5 leaves, and I knew the chances of it, acclimating.
Dropping
it was an import. It acclimating, being happy. No.
Yeah.
All the leaves died, and now I have a stick like this big that I'm just hoping something will come out the top. But it's been months now, maybe even close to a year, and there's nothing.
Do you have a like a heat pad?
Yeah.
Or a heat mat?
Yep. So I have an indoor Vivio sun. So in my garage is pretty much where my grow tents are, and we keep it regulated, good airflow, and like all of the things.
Yeah.
But it just, it rooted, and it's rooting fine, but it just like hasn't pushed out any more growth. And so I should do something with it to activate the growth, but I just haven't. It's kind of like a running joke at this point. I'm like, you were just a stick. Like, fine, just be a stick. It's fine.
It's a pretty stick.
Yeah, like you're a good looking stick, all right?
I feel like though, so one thing I've noticed is so when something's rooting, so I have a jungle mint, kind of similar to yours, and I had it for 3 months before that node ever finally, like, it was a mid cut, or actually, yeah, it was a mid cut that I got from, I think it was Toltec.
Oh,
And
Toltec's my supplier. Oh my God, we love
they're
Toltec
so
over here.
dope. Yeah, they're awesome. But so I got a mid cut from them, and I waited and waited and waited. I go in there and like breathe on that thing to try to get it, some CO2. I was like, come on, baby, like you got this. And it didn't do anything for the longest time. And I noticed one day I went in there and I have it in a clear pot, and like this root was like starting to touch the edge of the pot. And I was like, oh, well, it's at least getting roots. Well, once the roots had made it all the way around the pot and it felt like it had a footing, then that node activated and it grew quick. Like it's pushed out a new leaf already and stuff. So I think with your Milano, once that root ball gets established, you're gonna start seeing like crazy growth.
All right.
Like
Well,
mine
check
did
it
the
out.
same thing, and now it has like 2 or 3 growth points on it. So that's dope.
Nice. Well, if it doesn't happen in the next 6 months, I'm sending you my lovely stick, and you can work your magic on it.
I'll get a leaf and send it back.
Well, let's get into, we only have about 10 minutes left, but that's fine. Let's talk about some of your favorite plants that you have now. Like, what is your number one favorite plant, and can you provide any expert care tips for it?
So that jungle mint that I got from Toltec, or mint, no idea. It looks like a jungle mint. I just kind of call it that because that's like the closest thing I have. But I would say that's probably like one of, if not my favorite plant right now.
Here,
And
show this one so everyone can kind of see.
yeah, get it up close.
What
That
we're
thing is
talking
so
about
sick.
here. So this is our mother leaf, and then I have gotten this beauty.
Wow.
You guys can see. Oh, this way. Like it has like white, minty type variegation. Here is our second leaf.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, these are super awesome. Like, look how giant that is. Look how giant this one is. Like, these are just stunning. They are absolutely stunning. We got some nice root poking out at the bottom.
They grow
Love
like
that.
crazy once they get going.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've got another one coming out here, and then these are actually growing secondary roots, which is super cool.
Dang.
Some root porn for you guys. But yeah, this is what he's talking about. They are super awesome plants. Regular Monstera Deliciosa is also super awesome. But if you could ever get your hands on any of the types, I have an Aria back here, which has like white, yellow, and like a green variegation. Those are super cool. They're one of the best starter plants for sure.
Yeah. And so I feel like, what is yours rooted in? Is it cocoa?
Yes. So I only use cocoa, perlite, moss, and then like cocoa chunks. So I don't use any soil, only that mixture.
Yep, that's what I've found. So like Aroid Greenhouses a while back sent me, it was like their variegated premium mix or whatever. And I threw that plant in there and it rooted like crazy. And like I said, now it's getting new leaves and stuff. The heat is the main thing. Like I found that my like the closet that I have them in, that closet during the daytime gets sometimes up to like 90. And as long as everything is watered,
Yep.
the heat makes like new leaves like nothing else. Like they just realize like, oh, it's summer,
Yeah, it does, because that's like more natural to their environment. Like in Thailand or Indonesia, where a lot of these plants are found, are growing naturally and are produced. They have very high temps, and then it will even go down to like 60s, 65s at night. So my room, thank goodness not right now, but our room is normally like 87 in here. And then it will get down to like 68 at night. Now, do we appreciate that bill? No. But
right.
This is where I do like all of my lives and, my podcasts and like my content and stuff. Like I make it in here. And then, for my live sales on Palmstreet, I'll be in my greenhouse. But it's the same thing back there in the greenhouse, but it's a little bit easier to manage. The only thing that, we have to work through is like the winter, because in Texas, we still have like pretty cold winters, like goes down to freezing, below zero sometimes. And so I have to have just like a little heat thing in there to keep things going. But besides that, it's been easy peasy.
Do your lights keep it warm?
My lights, they help a little bit, but I buy Barrera brand, so they don't heat up that much, because I do, with the humidity, with the misters, like me watering pretty recklessly, like I try to make sure there's not going to be any fires.
Yeah, that's smart, honestly. Low
Yes.
key, the Walmart LEDs, like I went to Walmart one day just on a whim because I was like, I need some LEDs. Like I grow a lot of like fruit seedlings. Like anytime I eat fruit, I have like little bags of greenhouse. So like I have kiwis and mangoes and stuff. And the LEDs from Walmart that are like $20 or whatever, those things will grow a plant quick.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I
kind of
have.
surprised.
Yeah, I have them, all of those in my house, because I have plants all throughout my house. We have probably 40 windows in my house, but we're so close to our neighbors that we still don't get that much natural light. So I have those LEDs in all of my, ceiling lights, so everything can be happy.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yes, that was probably one of the first things that I did when I really started getting into plants, and definitely needed more places to put them, because I tried to just keep them here, tried to keep them just in my dining room, tried to keep them just outside, but I love plants and I want to see them, so they are now everywhere.
Yeah, that's the problem. And then it's like if they don't have light, they don't do well. So then you end up with lights all over the house.
Yes, yeah, and I try not, like, I hate having to connect lights to everything, like on all your shelves. Like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying. So I'd rather just have like my ceiling lights be bright as shit and deal with it.
Yep.
my plants are happy. That's all that matters.
Yeah. That's
All
true.
right. Let's see. What question do we want to end on? Do you have any advice for anyone that is looking to get into the hobby of collecting houseplants? What is your biggest piece of advice, or maybe something that you learned on the way?
So it's kind of, I would say it's like multiple pieces that are formed into one piece. I'll try to yap quickly for you. So for me, I would say like if I was going back, like when I first started, I would try to learn, so basically with a plant, the rhizome is everything. So if your roots are healthy, it's pretty much easy to get the rest of it figured out. You can always raise or lower your lighting or do whatever to figure out where it's going to grow the most leaves. But the main thing is figuring out how to get things to root. And once they root, like the water frequency and stuff like that. So like what's big right now is like the self-wicking pots and stuff like that, because consistent watering is key. If you don't consistently water, that's how you get edema and stuff like that when you do go to water.
Yep.
Plants will drop leaves if it's inconsistent, all that kind of stuff.
Turn
So
yellow, just
yeah.
like the anthuriums, they just crinkle up.
Yeah, they'll either crinkle up or they'll, like I said, they'll get edema or whatever, and then they'll just be like, oh, I'm gonna die now, But
Yep, like peace
so
out, bro.
yeah, just real quick too. But if you can get the roots right, I would say that's like the main thing. Everything else is kind of built on that. So whatever plant you're going to get, whether it's like a monstera or an anthurium or whatever, research what kind of substrate that plant needs, and then keep that substrate like humid, especially if it's aeroids. But like there's certain things like orchids, that like pretty much you hardly ever water because they just get all their humidity from tree bark and stuff like that. So the main thing is learning each plant, because it's easy when you first start collecting plants. You're like, oh, I need to water this thing every day, because plants, the only thing people know is plants need water and light.
Yes.
And so they're like, if I just water it, yeah. And they're like, if I water it every day, it'll do good. And it's like, you're going to kill that thing.
Yes.
But
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. That's definitely a fantastic tip. And I'm like, I agree with you 100%. being someone that ships plants like all the time, if you get one in and it's got a bent leaf, or the leaf is, turning yellow, like, it's okay. Check the roots. And if the roots are fine, no worries. Like, the leaves will come and go. They will naturally dry off. They'll die off due to a plethora of reasons. But if your roots are healthy, you still got a good plant there.
Yeah.
And yes, do not water every day.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's something we talk about almost every time on this show, is like, guys, don't shit in your plants, like it was last week. Like, don't shit in them, don't piss in them, and don't water them every day. Like,
Right.
Just once in a while, and especially with succulents, people jump into succulents right away because they're like, oh, they're the easiest. And then they're watering them like once a week. No, don't even do that. Like, water them once a month. Give them a rest. Like, that's it.
Yeah. They just want to look at water from across the room,
Yes. Just put a cup of water next to them and then they'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, Rocco. Well, thank you so much for participating and, being on the show with me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that we can have you again. I'd absolutely love that. I feel like, we have great conversation and people would love to hear more from you and what from a lot of your backgrounds, not just plants, but a lot of the things that you've dabbled in. We're both two ADHDers over here.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we could find so many things to talk about. But until next time.
I'll have my plants next time.
Yes, get your plants next time.
Yeah.
Not your parents' tree.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And like I said, you can stick around or you can drop. I know you're an old man and it's getting late.
Yeah, I am an old man.
All right. Bye, Rocco. All right. So if you guys have stuck around, you know that we do have a giveaway. And so our giveaway is whoever can take a screen grab of this right now and post it on your story to have other people watch our replay. The first person that I see tag me, Herp Collectors Network, on their story or in a reel, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you will get this stunning little Hoya, and it will be sent out next Tuesday or next Monday. All you have to do is take a screenshot of this, share the link for a replay, and tag me, Ivy Plants, and the Herp Collectors Network. But I am so excited. Thank you all for being here. Another wonderful show of Grow House. And a big shout out again to Mike for giving us this opportunity. Big shout out for Rocco for being here and having such a lovely, wonderful conversation. I was super excited to have him on, and I'm super excited to have him on again. So be sure to follow and subscribe so you can see more and learn more about, the love of houseplants. Get a free plant maybe, and just learn the ins and outs of the industry. But thank you guys so very much. You guys have a wonderful night. Mwah.
Still, step into the space where the roots run deep, where the sun meets the soil and the stories speak. Every leaf, every bloom got a tale to tell, from the lows in the dirt to the highs that swell. This is Grow House, yeah, we flourish and thrive, planting seeds of change, keeping dreams alive. It's more than just green, it's the life we create, breaking through the cracks, let's elevate. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now, grow all. Grow strong, grow tall, grow now.